everyone, this is Shel, and today I'm creating for the Canvas Corp Brands creative crew. My cousin is going on a trip to Europe, and I wanted to make him a special card and include some, money just in case. So I decided to get out my Canvas Corp Brands products, the travel themed papers, and some ephemera, little tags and things that I have from them, and make this card. So I was starting out with a folded um, blue color piece of cardstock, and I believe it's around 5 3/4 by 6. And then I also have a vellum envelope that it fits in. And then I'm going through some different papers that I have. Some are from paper pads, some are from packs that Canvas Corp has that are just a bunch of different things together, like little sampler type stuff. Um, and just looking for travel themed stuff that goes with my colors. The card is for a guy, so I didn't want it to be pink or purple, where I would usually go. So I decided to go with the browns and blues. So I started with this card stock piece that has just a bunch of different little travel-y book things on it. And I'm using some vintage photo colored ink to go around the edge and make it a little bit darker around the edge so that it looks like it's more of a layer. And then I'm going to kind of layer on top of that. I'm using it for a base. I also have this piece of paper that looks like an old postcard, and this is from a Recollections mixed media pad. But if you look at those mixed media pads and you look at the Canvas Corp stuff, you will have an inkling as to why I would use those together. So I'm going ahead and distressing it around the edges. Vintage photo for my second layer on my card. This is going to be an assembly style project where a lot of things are layered on top of each other, and it's very dimensional. And so the card stock that I cut and folded for the card, I made it slightly smaller than the envelope. Like, it could have been a little bit bigger, but I wanted to make sure there's plenty of room in the envelope for expansion when I put a lot of different layers together. So now I'm just auditioning different things that I have picked out from my stash of Canvas Corp stuff. I've got that cool map paper that has the blues in it. That little thing that says auto travel map was actually that extra edge of the original piece that I tore. So I decided to use it because it says travel on it. And that's a tag that had something that looked like a shield. And since he's going to Europe, I thought, family crests and shields are popular there, and he might be visiting some castles in Scotland or something like that, which he actually is going to. And so I wanted to include it. Then I also have some other elements like the burlap and the rope that are both from Canvas Corp. They make canvas there, and they make burlap and rope and stuff like that, and then also lots of different papers and paints. So it comes in very handy. You can get all your stuff in one place. Also, they make that fluted paper. I would say it's corrugated, but they call it fluted paper. So I'm using a piece of that. Then I've got out some of the mists. These are the Tattered Angel mists, and these are the ones called baseboard, which means that they don't have any shimmer in them. I didn't think shimmer was probably appropriate for a guy, so I went with my flatter paints, no mica. And I'm using them to spritz these very white colored tags, and then also to paint in the anchor, anchors away, bon voyage, that type of stuff. So I'm just tapping a little bit of it onto my underpaper there, and then using a small brush to apply it. So I have ivory. One of them is called craft or cardboard, and the other one is sky. I think sky, or maybe baby blue. Anyway, I will list everything in the description below as usual, so that you know what I used. I'm just continuing to try to build up the color on these. I don't want them to be overpowering in their color, but I do want them to have some color because they're very white. It's just tags that are printed with black on white. So can't have that. Then I edge them with the vintage photo distress ink from Ranger and the little ink applicator thingy, spongy thingy. And then once I'm done with that, I start assembling my card. The bon voyage has to go at the bottom there, of course, because yeah, that's what the whole card is about. Have a good trip. Here's a little bit of money. Have a good time. Take some pictures. Send them to me because I'm very envious. I've never been to Europe and I sure wish I was going instead of him or with him. Probably with him. But I don't think I'm invited, so, you know. So sticking that postcard down as my second layer, then I'm going to attach some of the more bulky elements like the burlap, and I've pulled the threads out of the burlap to make it look very distressed around the edges, and then that little piece of rope and the piece of fluted paper. Um, they create bulk, but they also create dimension. So you know I like dimension. I like texture and dimension on things. So for all my little different tags and papers, that little map was cut out of a piece of paper from a paper pad. Then I've got that blue piece that I cut out from a different piece of paper from the same paper pad. Then I've got a couple tags and that little auto travel magazine looking thing. And I'm just going to attach all those things. You can see that the little map thing that I cut out, it's got a piece cut out of it, but you know what? As long as things are behind other things, it doesn't matter. You'll see me do that later. I'll use a piece of paper that has a big hole in the middle, but since I'm putting another layer on top of it, it doesn't matter. No one's ever going to see it. So I'm just kind of alternating glues. For the heavier paper or things that I want to stay flat, I'm using tacky glue, and then I'm using some of that heavy duty tape, and then also a lighter tape and even some dimensional glue. I think that I have a glue multi-personality or something. I don't know. Just depending on how heavy the paper is and or ephemera it is, I just use different glues. So this piece I'm going to put on with some of this dimensional dots. And I'm kind of curving it. I'm like curving it so that it's got kind of a rounded shape. And then putting the dots only in the middle so that the edges will be pushed down to make it more rounded. I wanted my sails on this little sailboat tag to be white because I'd sprayed them. So I went ahead and used a Posca pen to make them white again. Sticking those on. That tag is going to be flat, but then the round one with the shield on it has a dimension. So just kind of adding some different layers and textures to the card. I have a hard time getting the backs off those dots. So I'm starting to feel like I need more things, so I go ahead and get out some different buttons and metal things and stuff that's from the basket on my desk. Also, I think that postcard needs a stamp, and I start out with this one with the floral, but then I decided it doesn't look quite right, so I switched to those little brown teapot ones because they're brown and it matches better with the card. Plus, you know, if you go to England, they drink a lot of tea, so I figured a teapot would be fine. And that's just from a package that somebody sent me. Little stamps. I keep them if they've got pictures. I don't keep those boring ones with the flags very often that say forever on them, but all the rest of them I keep. And I just keep messing around with stuff, trying to decide what I like. I picked out that red button because there's some red in the background, and I thought I should bring red forward, but it's just too much. It's too red, so I end up switching it out. And I like this piece of cotton lace, but I can't get it to work with what I'm doing. It's just not working. So I get out some more stuff. There's the button I changed it to. And I have some keys, some metal keys, and I try those. I'm trying to get kind of an L shape on this corner, so long on both sides. So I want something up at the top there. And I finally settle on this metal crown. Don't ask me who it's from because I don't know. It's just something that I have. And then my little button that actually has a map in the background of it. I don't know why it has a 2 on it. It just does. And then that little sprig on the side I thought added a little bit of extra dimension and matched the colors. And it's some type of a die cut. I don't know. Somebody gave it to me. So once I'm happy with the front, and I think it looks pretty cool. I'm going to start with the inside. Now remember I said I wanted to give him a little gift, and I found this little sack envelope thing that came in the pack of stuff from Canvas Corp, just like, just bits and pieces of things. And I thought that is perfect. It's exactly the size of a credit card. So I can give him one of those Visa Anywhere cards, which is probably safer to carry than cash. So I'm going to give him one of those and, charge it up with money. So I've also got a tag that has a key on it, and then this little piece had this ticket that says Paris, like a train ticket or something. So I cut that out and sprayed it a little bit, edging the edges with the distress ink. And then I've also got a piece of that world map paper to go in the background to bring in the blue colors, which I trimmed down. Maybe an old-time hotel key or something, and then a little train ticket. It just cool stuff, little travel-y looking cool stuff. So I'm attaching that to the inside of the card. And then I'm going to use that piece of paper, which I need to trim down. You see it's got a big hole in the middle of it. Doesn't matter because I'm putting another layer on top of it. And that will be where I can write my message. So I'm just adding some distress ink to that, sticking it all down. And I think this is a pretty special card for a special guy. It probably took me an hour to make it, maybe. I normally wouldn't go that crazy, but wow, he's going to Europe for like 3 weeks. How awesome is that? Okay, so my card is done. It fits in the envelope, and that's it for me. Thanks. Bye-bye.